About a week ago, I reached maximum frustration with my art. Like, I was just so sick and tired of having an idea in my head, sitting down to draw it, and just it turning out to be absolutely horrible. And so I realized that I needed to study a lot more if I actually wanted to improve. At first I came up with this like crazy idea to drill the fundamentals, like only the fundamentals. So it would be some kind of like intense art training arc where I'd go in some novice grasshopper and come out a brand new person. But to be honest, after one single day of just drawing boxes in perspective, I had to cancel that whole thing. I would have just burned out instantly if I kept doing that. And especially because originally my plan was to do 100 boxes in perspective per day. I don't know what kind of like medieval art torture I was planning on putting myself through and why, but that was the first thing that came to mind when I thought about trying to improve. But instead I decided to just draw whatever I wanted, because when I draw, it's usually just because I'm making YouTube videos, but like that is not enough. So instead I wanted to just commit to drawing every single day. And even though it's no medieval art torture arc, if we compare my day 1 to my day 7, I think that we can all agree that it turned out just fine. So you can see that my day 1, I didn't even record it. Like, do we really have anything to say about this? It was supposed to be a study of this guy.
To say it, I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street. I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to this man.
And I had just looked at one of those little diorama things of the planes of the face, and I just looked at it for a little while and I was like, you know what? I've got it. I've got it. Like, I can replicate this really easily.
Okay.
Day 2 turned out a lot better. Like, it was also a study of a picture that I found on Pinterest, but I just kind of tried to play around with the colors. I can't really say that I love it, but I do like the strong shadow behind the character. It does give the illusion of lighting, which I've always been scared to like even attempt. I know like there are certain places where people tell you to put highlights and shadows, and that's the extent of my knowledge there. But I think that the colors and the shadows turned out pretty nice. So I'm decently proud of this one for my day 2. For day 3, I kind of wanted to just draw like a character in a cool pose. When I did day 2, I just felt like it looked really unfinished. So I wanted to try again with day 3, and I actually really liked the way that it turned out. Looking back on it now, you can really tell where the light is coming from. Oh my gosh, like you can see the improvement. Like, this is all retrospective now. My week is over, but I'm just looking back at this and I'm like, wow, it's not finished, because I wanted to make sure that whatever I did it in that day. And some days I would just not have enough time to finish it. But if I were to finish it, I would make that light source coming from the right side a lot stronger. But I actually like her expression. I think she looks unique and cool. So that's day 3. So the thing about day 4, you know how we were talking about a journey beginning with a single step? On day 4, I decided that instead of taking a little step, I wanted to do a leap. I saw this really pretty frame from Spirited Away, and I was like, I want to see if I can replicate that. I spent a lot of time copying art when I first started drawing, and I was like, if I am good at copying art, what if I'm secretly good at copying paintings? Like, what if this is some sort of hidden talent that I've had my whole life and I just never knew? And as you can see, this is also unfinished. I just remember sitting there drawing these little tiny dots for the leaves. But you know what? I think that if I wanted to attempt another anime screenshot to replicate it, there is one shot from, I think, either the first or second episode of My Hero Academia. It just looks so good. Day 5, I actually really like. I don't think it's perfect. A lot of things look kind of crazy, but I am really proud of how the character's face and hair turned out. I think that this could be a profile picture or an icon. Like, if you just zoom in and pretend like the rest of the body isn't there, it looks really cool. But I like the way this hand turned out. Like it looks very three-dimensional and cool. Like I think I poured so much into trying to figure out how to draw this hand that I had like no strength left to figure out the rest of his body. Day 6, we will call this one me not learning my lesson. Because I don't know what it was. I think that the previous day it made me overconfident. I was like, I really like this one. And so because I've learned so much in a day, I can now tackle the big piece that I wasn't able to tackle before. And so this time I found a reference of this girl sitting by the riverbank and I laid everything out. I like considered perspective. I drew the boxes. I was like, this is going to be so good. And then for this one, I actually didn't color pick. I do remember that. For the Spirited Away one, I did color pick from that, but for this one, I did not color pick anything. And when you zoom out, I really feel like you can see like the major shapes and forms and stuff. I'm really proud of this. Like I know if you zoom in, it looks crazy. Again, if I would change anything, I would make the light source stronger. But considering I don't do environments and backgrounds or anything like that, I think that it turned out pretty cool. Finally, our last day. I did do a couple studies this day. One of them was an animation study. And the other thing I did on day 7 was create a PNG tuber. I actually attempted to do this once before, and literally as soon as I started, I knew that it wasn't gonna go well. I might go in and try some new things, and I might redesign her a little bit because I realized really late that she has no lower half. Like, I don't know what kind of pants she wears. If you can get anything out of this video, I would say that drawing every day works, but it works if you actually like don't beat yourself over the head with it. Because I think that if you just sit down and say, I'm gonna draw every single day, and you're drawing things that you hate, you're just kind of going through the motions, you're not actually paying attention to things and learning things as you go, then you're just kind of doing something and you're not actually growing in the process. And I know it kind of feels like I'm not at a point yet to give this kind of advice, but this is just me thinking about what I've learned through this experience, and I hope that it could help someone else. If you're anything like me and you get frustrated easily and you're doing this and it's like, oh my gosh, I've been working on this so long and it does not look like it's getting any better, I would encourage you to try something like this. If you're the kind of person where you're just like, I love, I don't know, flowers, and I just want to know how to draw flowers. Don't beat yourself up because you can't draw a fabric and like clothing draping, and don't struggle with boxes every single day like I was gonna do. Try to go and just draw a bunch of flowers, because if that's what you want to draw, like, yes, the fundamentals are important, but they'll always be there. And I feel like you pick up little bits of the fundamentals as you go. You can always get that formalized stuff later and connect those dots in your brain. But if you just don't do it at all because it's so frustrating and you dread the idea of sitting down and going, now it's time to rotate the cylinders, now it's time to mirror the planes, like, no, you're gonna hate it. You're gonna hate it because you really want to draw flowers. Just draw the flowers. That is my advice. That's what I learned over the course of this week, and I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep doing this because I see the improvement, I feel the improvement. And so that is all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.